So you guys we see some of the raw emotions here, right? And there's a lot more. I mean, some things going on in my head to hear you guys talk about different things related to your experiences in fatherhood and your relationships with just males in general in your life. So I think the most important thing that we need to understand is issues and relationships with our fathers is one of the most meaningful and impactful things going on with us internally, right, as young men. No one can quite hurt you like your father. And you guys were talking about that, right? The pains and the disappointments and the yearnings. There's something about fatherhood, guys, that is deep within us. It's a deep, deep-seated thing. We love our mothers, right? I mean, don't say nothing about mama. Don't cross mama the wrong way. Mama is everything in the world, right? But there's something about fatherhood. It's hard to explain, you know? And the things that we see growing up in our fathers has such a deep effect on how we internalize who we are and how we get our identity, how we navigate a sense of, of the world and our community, relationships with our friends, relationships with our family, where we see ourselves going in the world. So much of it, guys, is drawn from our interactions and experiences, the good and the bad of our fathers, and there are some things that we cannot fix. You can't fix it. It's not for you to fix. Some of these issues that you guys were talking about, right, are things that were happening before you even had a sense of yourself, right? And like you were saying, some things your parents intentionally and strategically kept from you, right? Because it was something that they were dealing with. And so you didn't know. Until, like BB's saying, till you grow into your manhood and things start getting exposed, Adrian, and then it's just like, whoa, so what is this? Where did this come from? Right? So it's not fixable. You aren't the one to fix it. You understand what I'm saying? So that's an important part of what I think we have to reconcile with. Some things I can't and am not supposed to fix. Okay? But here's the beautiful thing about growing up. Here's the beautiful thing about coming into your own manhood, right? Finding your own place in your own space is you can be an example. Hear me? That's where the power lies. That's where the beauty of any and all ugliness as relates to those situations that our fathers contributed to, established, didn't do. I now, as a man, I now have the opportunity to let my example, my own testimony, shine for others to see. That's the opportunity that we all have. Each one of you have a testimony. Each one of you have a vision of where you want to go, what you want in your life, what you don't want in your life, what you want to replicate within your father, and what you don't want to replicate within your father. What you've learned from your father, and what you didn't learn from your father. you have an opportunity now to restructure the terms. Despite what daddy did or didn't do, is or is not. For me, for my siblings, for my mother. That's where I think, brothers, we want to hone in on. Not what necessarily I can fix and change from the past, but what I can do and reset in my family lineage, reset in my story, reset in my testimony, to narrate my own story, drawing from the goods and the bads of my life. So that then my son, my daughter, my little brother, my big brother, my cousins, my friends can look to me and say, I want to be that. I want what Sharif has. I want what Josh has. I want what Dorian has. I want what Patrick has. I want what Malik has. I want that. I can now, if necessary, surpass looking to the patriarch of the family and look to the son. Because the son, by the way he chose to live his life and the things that he learned, he created a new story. That's what's cool about it. So much of what we get from our fathers. It's in you. It's there. Some of y'all were talking about it. Things that we do. How we relate and interact with women. How we relate and interact with our peers. How we lead or choose not to lead. You know, everything. You can almost guarantee map it back to daddy as a man. There are many things that we as men, we look to daddy for. Not mama. Whether daddy was there or not. We're crying out, my father, where's my father? It's hard to explain. It's deep. And mama, and so many mamas do a great job, right? Help develop outstanding young brothers. But even in that, there's something missing. And every man knows it. Every man knows there's something missing. I'm a good dude. Mama did good. But there's something missing. And a lot of us, we're going through life trying to find father. We're trying to find the emptiness that daddy left. And I'm trying to find that to fill the void. Whether I'm trying to find it in a fraternity. Whether I'm trying to find it in a mentor. Whether I'm trying to find it in my peers, my brothers. Dudes in the streets try to find it in gangs. What are they doing? They're crying out for daddy. And we all have it. That's what the Will Smith story is about. They did that impromptu, right, guys? When they filmed that. That was all impromptu. There was no script. So Will was clearly, this was in there. You see it tonight. You see it today. The more we talk about it, the more we think about it, the more those raw emotions come creeping up. We try to bury it. We try to ignore it. We try to explain it away. But it's still there. The hurt is still there. The confusion is still there. The disappointment is still there. The frustrations are still there. No matter how much we bury it, it's still there. Matter of fact, the more you bury it, the more that begins to hemorrhage. because it's trying to escape. It wants to escape to help make meaning to us and help give us a sense of direction. Now what do I do? See? There are many reasons, brothers, why our fathers may or may not be certain ways. It's not just, black males are just crazy and crazy. That's what they want you to think. That's not true. There's a lot to explain. Historical things. Evil works. Systems in place right now that are weighing, crushing the spirit of black men and brown men. So there's reasons. A lot of, you know how we are as men, we don't like dealing with emotion, are emotional. So a lot of things, our fathers, mental health issues, they never dealt with. We don't do mental health. We don't do that. But we need to. But those are things our fathers have bared. They've bared certain weights. And it's been projected out to the innocent. Not because they wanted to, not because that's what they're living for, but it's a part of living, it's a part of being human. We have to find our peace. And finding your peace can take time. The peace process can take time. It's not something you're going to have right away or while you're in college or right after you leave college. It could take years, decades. But we all need to be on our peace train. And that's what this is. Sometimes peace is in the realm of forgiveness. Sometimes peace is in the realm of talking it out, getting an understanding. Sometimes peace is in the realm of helping where you can help. But that's what we have to get to. How do I do it, Sim? I don't have the answer. It's your journey. We all have a journey. We all have different journeys. But we all have got to get our peace with our fathers. And anybody in your life who has served that fatherly role. Fatherhood is not just biological fatherhood. Fatherhood is the spirit of fatherhood. An uncle can have the spirit of fatherhood. A big brother can have the spirit of fatherhood. A role model, a male mentor can have the spirit of fatherhood. A pastor or an imam can have the spirit of fatherhood. Grandfather. So fatherhood is that thing that we as men are looking to in terms of connection with other men. Friends can have the spirit of father. Peers. I have no doubt every one of you young men are called to be great fathers. Not just biological fathers, although that too. But the spirit of fatherhood lies in your hearts. Your job is to find your peace so that you can write a new story for others to see as an example and for others to be impacted by in their own cries for fatherhood. Some things we need to let go. You gotta let go of it. Let it go. You can't change it. You can't fix it. So you might as well let it go. Sometimes we gotta cry it out. Sometimes we gotta talk it out. Sometimes we gotta pray it out. Sometimes we gotta think it out. But you've got to find your peace so that you can be all that you are called to be in your life as fathers. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Question about letting it go. Where's the difference between, how do we know if we're letting it go versus burying it down? Because a lot of times you go, all right, I'm not going to talk about it, I'm just letting it go.
Yeah.
But you realize you haven't actually let it go and it comes back up.
Because letting it go, burying it is not finding peace. Letting go is the process of peace. It's the peace process. If I let something go, right, it's not like I've forgotten about it. That's not what I mean. What I mean is recognizing there's nothing I can do about this particular thing. I can't go back in the past and change the past. I can't change my dad. You know. But I can be an example to my dad. As a man. I may not have been able to be that as a boy or as a teenager. But as a man, my life can be an example to another man. See, you know the things, you all know it. You know the things that we talked about that you don't want to replicate. That's finding peace. The things I want to replicate. See what I'm saying? Burying it, not talking about, not dealing with it, act like it never happened, act like it's not real. That's burying it. And that's dangerous. You see the difference? It's all about reconciliation. I don't have the preemptive forgiveness pathology. I don't live on that pathology, right? To me, forgiveness has to be sought in order for it to be granted. If there's no seeking for forgiveness, how can we forgive? Now that's how I see it. Okay? But finding peace, though, and maybe for some people, preemptive forgiveness is how I find my peace. That's fine. Do what works for you. But the real root of the issue is being reconciled and finding the peace within yourself, within your own heart, within your own mind, so that you can move forward in strength. That's the thing. Daddy issues can make or break a man. It's true. And some of these men out here, they don't realize just how important they are. You don't even understand it. You have no comprehension just how significant your love, your life, your care, your emotional self, your know-how, your wisdom, your smarts, how important it is for young men. If more of our brothers knew and understood it, a lot of things would be different. But you know it and understand it. So that things can be different in you. So that's kind of what I want to leave off, guys. It's important. Again, this is just part one of many parts because there's so much to unpack. There's so much to think about. There's so much to discuss, right? But at the end of the day, each one of you are called to be fathers. Again, the spirit of fatherhood. Because every young man needs a father. We all need it. We need that man that can speak to our lives. We need that man that can touch those nerves. We need a man who can understand it. Those feelings and those emotions, those questions, those burnings, those yearnings, those problems that a man can speak to, that resonates in a way that may not with a woman. Every man needs a father. Be that father for each other. Be that father for your community, for your people, for your one-day children of your own, for your cousins, your brothers, your sisters. Be that father. Let go what you need to let go. Find your peace and know that you can't fix some things. And be content with that. And continue to build you up so that you can shape what's next in your life and the life of others. That's the best we can do, guys. Okay? All right. So it was good. Proud of every one of you. Proud of every one of you.